Welcome back to the pod. We have Maria Lennert here. She is a women's embodiment leadership mentor, a master facilitator within the personal development industry. Mariana has facilitated over 5,000 people through transformational events, retreats, and experiences for over a decade. She has spoken in front of 400,000 people on live and virtual stages, has scaled her businesses to multiple six figures. Typically, Mariana supports ambitious, self led women who feel disconnected, stuck in the cycle of overgiving and overdoing. Mariana helps empower women to unleash their feminine magnetism and reach the next level in all areas of life. Oh my God, Mariana, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, thanks for having me. That's amazing. What a great bio. I love the way that you share that.
Amazing. Yes. I want to dive straight into this cycle of overgiving and overdoing. I know I was doing that definitely when I was in corporate and a lot of my life and even the women in my life are always overgiving and over kind of in that overdrive. And what are you seeing with that? Did you move through that? Have you experienced that? Are all the women you're seeing, like, I just feel like every single woman on the planet has experienced that at some stage, right?
So true. Yeah, you're right. I feel that every woman has been through or is still going through the overgiving. And yeah, just being that yes person, of prioritizing everybody else, work, family, and then putting themselves last. And similar to you as well, when I was working in corporate and, running multiple businesses, I myself had to experience, depression and anxiety and medicate myself to find a new way in life. And that was the beginning of my healing. I truly believe that, this overgiving, it comes, of course, from childhood and, from that condition that we have to be good girls and we have to be nice and we have to, be the peacemaker and we have to, achieve more and get good grades and be a good dancer. And all of those things put so much pressure on us that we very early we learn that when I am good, when I am nice, I'm a good girl. I get validation and I am loved. And on that way, we forget who we are completely because we continue to show up on those roles of that we create in life. And what I often find with my clients is something happens, a major challenge, or probably like you living the corporate, like myself as well, going through the depression and the anxiety, that something knocks, in our door and say, hey, it's time to find out who you are. And that's the exciting journey that I been through. And that's what I do for women right now.
Yes, amazing. I love this. And I love this conversation about that good girl and feeling like we have to, yeah, because I resonate with that so deeply. I've done a podcast episode on that and I'd love to go deeper around that. And how do you help women kind of move, because it's kind of like we can channel that into something, and the podcast episode I did around with let's channel the good girl into philanthropy or something like helping people. But how do we shift that how do people shift that in the rest of their life? Like, do they, accessing that inner wild, that bit more loose? Like, how do we get rid of that rigidness and needing to, I won't even want to say obey. Like, that's just words come to
Sure.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There is this saying that I always ask my clients, and it says, "Tell me one good girl that has changed the world." And you can't, because good girls, they don't change the world. They are made to keep the status quo, and and that's it. Like if you look to all the change makers and the women creating change in the world, they are not good girls. They are women who know how to stand in the truth and communicate their ideas. And what I believe is not about shaming or changing the good girl, because the good girl brings that the desire to provide, to be in service, to take care, to look after, and it's a beautiful quality to have. The side effect happens when we don't look after ourselves, when we don't know who we are, when we don't know what we desire. So in my spaces, I work a lot with the good girl and the bad bitch archetype, which is, that dark energy. And it's the kind of woman that, you can still be nice, but you can communicate your boundaries, or you can communicate your desires, or you can say no without hesitating, without apologizing, without deeming yourself.
Yeah, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. I'm resonating so much with that. Yeah. And how do you feel like you are embodying both? And like, what do you see the embodiment of both? You kind of spoke about the good girl. Like, what does it mean to embody the other half?
So I believe that embodiment is everything. Is such a big part of what I do. I believe that you got to walk your talk, but you got to embody your talk as well. And I like to work a lot with the light feminine and the dark feminine energy. And I believe that, I know in my life I have, growing up with so many boys in a very traditional patriarchal family. I didn't really have a voice. And I learned later in my life, which was sort of coming out in my marriage, was the good girl, where I was showing up for everyone, and the inability to ask for support and to ask for what I truly desire and to communicate that led me to feel resentment and angry and passive aggression coming into all directions, and sort of blaming everybody else, but not realizing that I was the problem. I was actually not communicating my desires or what I need at the time. So I believe that the big part and big healing is actually embracing the dark feminine energy, which most of us, we are so afraid of, because the dark feminine energy, it's seen as selfish, as too sensual or too expressive, or she is she is what is the other words that the other day people told me about? She's chaotic, she's
Mm,
loud
crazy.
and
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. And yes, she can be all of that when she's in the shadow of the dark feminine, but there is a really potent healing power in the dark feminine, which is the woman that is assertive, the woman that knows who she is, that she can communicate her desires, that she can ask for help, that she's embodying her sensuality and sexuality. And and one thing that I also embody was really doing the work to be able to hold that, eyes on you, and being seen, and being the center of attention. So I think all of this work, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of
Mm.
dedication. To every time you feel contraction, every time you want to say a yes, it's tuning to yourself and say, okay, what is truly alive for me right now?
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. And like feeling alive is having direction and feeling deeply connected to yourself. And I teach a lot of intuition and channeling. So it's like the ultimate connection to self, I believe. How do you kind of help women find deeper connection? Because you've mentioned that you support women who feel disconnected. How do you help them come back to themselves or reignite themselves or feel that deeper connection?
Great question. So we work through many different modules in many different areas of the feminine embodiment to actually support a woman to really come home to who she is. But I believe that it's what you mentioned before. It's like spiritual connection is one of the pillars that we work through, because if when you don't feel safe in your body, you very likely that won't be connected to your intuition, because your intuition for a woman talks through the body. So I do a lot of nervous system work to create safety, to recreate a safety in your body, so you can tap into your intuition, so you can develop the new sense of self-love and presence with yourself. I also support women to realign their life with their values and what's important to them. And another thing that I love as well is really supporting women to go really deep into the desires that they have, really embodying the bad bitch into communicating those desires and going for it. Because a lot of women also, when they come to me, they never had a really a time to think about what is it I desire. No, truly, what do I truly desire? And we go into this quest of from choosing what's your favorite tea or what's your favorite flower or what's your favorite place to eat, and that your desire, your choices.
I love that. I love that. That resonates so much because, like, I feel like this year for me personally has been like this. It's felt like a roller coaster. I'm gonna be real honest, right? It's been cooked, okay? And just recently I've had like just people coming and being like, is this, like the doubt coming in as it comes, we're human.
Of course.
And I have been also songwriting, and I had this lyric come in that it was like, dare to dream. Like, I dare you to go and dream and continue to submit to your dreams. So, like,
Wow.
that just feels so deep to me. It's like, I dare everyone on this podcast listening to go after your desire, because, like, there's so much power in submitting to, I'm going to fucking do it and I'm going to commit to it. And it's commitment, right?
I love this. I got goosebumps all over my body. I am like, I love this. I want to know more of your song.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you're a songwriter, but that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is something that I also share, and I find it that is so powerful, which is your dreams and your vision are yours. And
Mm.
everything else in your life has a voice. Your partner has a voice. Your kids are always screaming your name. If you don't pay a bill, they will call you and ask you to pay for the bill. Everything in your life has a voice. The only
Mm.
thing that doesn't is your vision and your dream. And if you
Mm.
don't give a voice to it, no one will.
Oh my God. I just had goosebumps. That's so good. That's so good. And like it really is like women, and the reason why women don't have higher income or higher, even if it's to do with sales or asking for a raise in your career, because they don't fucking ask for it. And I know because I was that person who didn't see the top of my income range because I didn't use my voice. And so, like, how do we help women to like actually speak up? Like, what is it that's gonna like really project them into being able to like have the power? Because they have a voice. It's inviting them to use it, right?
Yes. So I believe that everything starts on the environment that you're in, right? If you are on the environment that it's encouraging you to speak up, to speak or to grow or to step into your leadership, you probably will. If you and if a woman wants to find a voice, I believe that being in the environment where her voice is heard, like find a new community, that's why doing this work, self-development is so important, because when you find that community that will lift you, that will hold you accountable to your vision, to your dreams, and won't let you go on the spiraling of those excuses and self-doubt that we all do have. And having someone that can mirror back your greatness is everything. I believe is
Mm.
everything.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
totally that makes total sense.
But
And like the village, it's like women in a village are gonna take over the
It's
world.
that's so true, and that's how it was back in the days, right? Women in the village, and they had the power of the village. They were, they had the voice because they were connected to the intuition, to their menstrual cycle, and then patriarchy came and just changed everything, the dynamic, and I this is something that I teach is the history of women, and it's not that far back that we are experiencing this the difference of rights for men and women. I know I was born in 83, and it was in 83, I believe it was 83, that all rights were equal, and so it's not that long ago. So we don't have role models in our lineage, grandmothers and mothers who have this power that we are now. It's a newfound way, it's a newfound power that we have access to.
Oh, it's so deep, and like ancestral channeling is such a powerful way to like break those cycles. Like I remember I did a breath work with Carly, my housemate, and I just saw my ancestors like was deeply connected to my voice and their ability to speak up, and they were like, Riley, you're doing it for us as well, and all these things. So it's like it's so powerful to connect with that ancestral. Yeah, and just
Yeah.
just to know that, because sometimes we feel it's like when we're moving through these transformations and we're trying to like it's break our own barriers. It's like we're not just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it, and like the women are there behind us. Like we can connect with those ancestors and feel that and have them support us along the way. And there's such a pride of for us to be doing that as women and continuing with yourself to teach that. It's just like mind blowing. I just
It is mind blowing. I
yeah,
agree. Yeah.
because there's still so many children, young girls, or minorities that need that and that need that support. So what you're doing is so powerful and like it's really like incredible. So yeah, thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
being
Yeah.
that woman, you know?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I do believe that, and I know that when we do the healing, when we break the generational, the patterns, we are healing 7 generations that have passed, but also 7 generations to come. So what you do with the choices that you are choosing today has a ripple that is beyond what you can imagine.
Yeah.
So it's really powerful, and I believe that I believe, no, I know that we are the first generations that can be leaders, that can step up. Right now women can do homeschooling and run a bit multi-million dollar businesses from home, from your computer and your phone, and it can look amazing in all of these things. But there is a huge weight that carries on the psychic of the feminine that we cannot deny, right? It
Mm.
comes from generations and the witches and all of that, which is, 3 centuries ago that was all happening. So yeah,
Mm.
it's really
Yeah,
big.
like women are oracles. They are connected to the divine. They are intuitive. Like women are intuitive as fuck. So I'm just gonna say
Yes,
that.
we
Um,
definitely are. Yes.
Yeah. And where do you see, like, you teach deeply on feminine leadership? Where do you see feminine leadership moving in the next, like, 10 to 20 years? Like, what changes do you feel like going to be happening?
Yeah, I just feel that it's blooming, and it's blooming, every day. We see women in positions of leadership every day right now, where this is unprecedented in history. So I think that's just amazing. But what I truly believe with leadership is that a new way of leadership is it's birthing right now, and it's a really deep integration of feminine leadership and masculine leadership. It's a kind of that integration, especially in the feminine leadership, that is again what we're talking is the kind of leadership that trusts the intuition, that is there to not to have power over, but to inspire the power within other people. Is the kind of leadership that it's about us, it's about we rising together,
Mm,
and that's what I'm here to teach. Because when we come from corporate, and I have a lot, a lawyer, used to be a lawyer in Brazil.
okay, yeah.
Coming from the background, we're still coming from the patriarchy that, it's competitive. I gotta be better. I gotta be the best. I gotta be louder. I gotta have more degrees to be able to earn my position. And now it's just transitioning that. And we see so many incredible collaborations right now happening all over as well, which is, it's a huge transition, I feel.
Amazing. And how do you feel like that background in law has helped you and like pushed you in your life, in your own business, and like the way you show up? Like that feels like quite a defining time for you in your life. I'm just feeling into.
Yeah, I love that question. Um, so I So I graduated in law when I was in Brazil, and I was super young. I started, I went to university when I was 16 and finished when I was 23. So it was, and then I started working on criminal law. And to be honest, I didn't have the long experience to I sort of came to Australia before I got really deep into my career. But working on criminal law, I think, was a decisive moment for me to realize that I wasn't made for that. Working in criminal law in Brazil, reading cases after cases of like devastating truth, of the things that happen. I just knew that my body couldn't hold that reality for too long.
Mm.
So that's when I made the decision. And I think that was my first massive breakthrough moment of coming here to Australia, and yeah, and then finding myself again in a completely new way.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And incredible to the women who are in that space. Great work.
Yeah,
Um,
Of
yeah,
course.
it's important, and like that, all the justice, and there is like a lot of, yeah, there's just so many pieces in the world that um people in fear, like people are, there's a lot of fear in the world because of the injustices. So it's such important work in whatever field, yeah, they're in. So yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful work, and it has taught me a lot about, yeah, how to study my truth as well, and how to like being able to discern what's right and what's not right and what's wrong, and yeah. So there is just so much that I got out of that, but I feel that everything was just that connecting the dots to get me where I am today, and I'm so
Mm.
grateful for all parts of my journey.
Yes, yes. I'd love to go back to the good girl versus, I don't know, I want to call it power because I'm not behind that from your teaching, but how can women or those listening activate that deeper? Like how can they really shift into, because it is a power, right? They're activating their power deeper. So how can they move out of that lesser people pleasing and more into being able to like assert themselves? Because it's the assert an authority, and yeah, I'd love to hear pick your brain a bit more on that.
Yeah, of course. So I believe that it's definitely that what you say about like communicating with certainty, knowing what you want, being able to hold the attention, be able to be seen, being able to feel good in your own skin. Not being afraid to set your boundaries or to communicate when it's a no, not having to justify your no's, not having to, you know, again do things that you don't feel like doing it. And I like to say that the first step is just awareness, a massive awareness into places that you react, you answer by reaction, say of course yes, I'll help you, or take a moment. I always say the transformation lives in the breath in between. So how can you, before you say yes, you're like, all right, let me just take a breath, and that breath will bring the awareness that you need. How does my body feel when she asks me to support her moving houses? Is it expansion or is it contracting right now?
Mm.
And in that, you can always say, "I'll get back to you later. Let me sit with it," And before we're saying a no or before we're saying anything, so there is steps to this work. Before, of course, if someone has a heavily tendency of people pleasing or being a good girl, you would like asking you to say a hard no would be a big jump, but we can start
Mm.
with the breath in between, just tuning to yourself, and maybe say, hey, can I get back to you in 5 minutes or in an hour or tomorrow? And another way as well is having eye contact, like really speaking to people and having eye contact, and being able to hold that for a little bit longer, like communicating yourself as you looking into people's eyes, as being able to hold the eye contact for a lot longer than normally you would do it. And that's another thing from people pleasing on nice girl as well. They would like look away, or sort of trying to escape that the situation where they are the
Mm.
focus of the attention.
Mm. Yeah, so
Another
getting them
one.
front and center.
Yes, and it can be slow, like it can be gentle. You can see the capacity of your nervous system, and that's why it's so important to do nervous system work, because for someone would be I'm in the meeting and I'm really holding the eye contact and I'm holding that. For other people, it can be, I'm gonna go ask for a coffee, and on the asking for a coffee, I'll just look into their eyes of someone and say, and I stay there for a little bit longer than what I would. So it
Mm.
can be in different situations. Another one is communicating your desires, and it can be something like asking your partner to support you at dinner time, or asking your partner to, can you please do a massage in my body for 15 minutes, and without having to give it back. So it can be different types of desires. But
Yes.
that can be, again, super uncomfortable for so many women, and it's going to be a titration, right? Like stretching yourself bit by bit until you can just be that woman, unwavering and confident.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk to you about control, because particularly when there's a tension and women feel tense, they tend to control things or feel like they have to do it all themselves. And that's where this kind of like over masculine or overdoing comes in. What can they do to kind of like shift that? Because like I know no woman loves to be the one that's like the control freak. They don't love being perceived as that, but somehow they get into this space and they're like, how did this even happen? Because they're just trying to survive and move through what they need to at a day to day. And it's like, how is it breath work? Like what should they be doing?
So there is different kinds of work for that. Of course, the somatic work of breath work and movement, it's amazing. But what I truly love for someone that has the controlling tendency is, it's really working it out, like, where does it come from? And a lot of the times it comes from the little girl that, needed to control to feel safe. He needed to control because she wasn't supported. She had to look after everyone, and there are so many different reasons for someone to be controlled. And once we understand the core, as like the core of why this is happening, we can start to show up for ourselves first in the way that we need to create the safety, and then we can start to share that with the world. And would be, a big one is, again, asking for and for support. A lot of the over controllers that I work with, they are great in supporting everyone. If you call them and say, hey, can you help me again to move my house, moving house, or can you help me with this party? They will be the first one there, because they're action takers. They make things happen. But when it comes for them to ask for someone, they're like, oh no, they're too busy. Oh no, it's okay. I can do it myself. I'll just sort it out. And yes, you can do it yourself. Yes, you will sort it out. But
Yeah.
at what cost? What is it costing you in your life to be the one doing everything? Is it costing you being always in your masculine? Is it costing you being always on your survival, always tired, not available for intimacy, not available for connection, not available for fun, for pleasure? What is it costing you? So that's the deeper question. And then it's starting to slowly, starting to open up the area of really allow people to be there for you.
Yeah. And how have you seen, do you have any clients or have you seen any transformations from that? Because sometimes I feel like these women, the type of women that I'm referencing, and I've been there, so not just referencing anyone, they don't even know that there's another option. They don't know that like there's another way of living. Yes, they see other women maybe feeling a bit more in a different state, but when they're in that state, they're like, oh, I don't know how to even get out of that. Like, what have you seen in terms of transformation with your clients or any other? How has that transformed their life? And yeah.
I've seen so much transformation. It's just wild to think about. So yeah, and you're right. When someone is deeply into that role of controlling, is a survival mode. So there is two options there. One is they will just do life in their way until they cannot anymore because it's unsustainable. And then that's when they say, well, something's not right here, which was my case. Something is not right here. Something's got to go. And then you started to look into ways that you are trying to hold it all together, in fear that if you let it go, everything will fall apart. So that is one. And another one is, they just want to feel more joy, or sometimes they want to have a relationship, intimacy, or find a partner, and they know that something has, they have to change, because controlling puts you on that masculine drive of always doing, always controlling. And a lot of the times that gets on the way of intimacy and having, finding a man that can be in his masculine. So I've seen so much transformation with my clients. I've seen women, one of my clients, she is my client in business, because I do private clients for business, and she has, because she never had support. So by having support, having a team, like in business, she was able to triple, her income by having the support and expanding herself and creating different, retreats and events. It's just been amazing to witness her journey. I had clients that found love, found a life partner by doing this work and softening into the feminine, feeling safe to be in the feminine. And even in dates, it's like controlling is a person that will make decisions, that will choose things. Like a fork falls on the floor, she'll quickly go and pick it up. She doesn't allow the man to be that. So it's
Yes.
just changing these little things. And once you awake, like once you have that awareness to that, the woman realizes that plays up in all areas of your life. It's just crazy.
Yes, that's so powerful. Oh my God, I love that. And what are the type of ways that people can work with you? What have you got at the moment that to invite any women that feel guided to learn more about you?
Oh, amazing. I'm very active on my Instagram, so please follow me on Mariana Lennert. And I have an amazing community of women that I lead online, and we meet up weekly, but also we have an in-person day retreats. So it's a mix of in-person and online. And I always have guest facilitators coming through and sharing their wisdom. So this is where we get to work in all areas of this feminine awakening, from wealth to intuition to everything. It's incredible. And of course, I facilitate, incredible events here in Australia on the Gold Coast. I have this massive movement called Empower Her. We have done Australian tour and facilitated, I think, event number 10 in 2 years. It's been just an incredible journey. So 2026, we are back online with those events, and also facilitate retreats and 2-day retreat experiences. So yeah, if you want to know more of this work and really step into the magnetism and aliveness for life, there's plenty that I can share with with anyone.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you so much, Mariana. It's been so incredible speaking to you and diving into some of these pieces that women really struggle with. And I know like there are thousands of women this podcast episode will resonate with. So it's been so nice to talk to you and have you on. And yeah, I'll drop all your details below in the comments.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Love talking about this. I can be here for days. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.